Yeah, I'm trying to get the glare off of here. Let's try, I don't know, maybe that. I don't know. Okay, so we are live. And my dad's texting me, so hi, Dad. All right, so tonight I'm gonna go over a few of the things we went over last week, but I'm gonna go into some stuff that's very, very important. Why is it important? Because it's going to help you understand, first of all, what truth is inside yourself and how to stop the suffering inside yourself. Like, it's easy to say, but how you do it. So I'm going to teach you that. So first, we're going to go over a little bit of what we go over every week, which is speaking inside yourself, loving yourself, telling yourself you're sorry for the things that how you've treated yourself your entire life, because most of us don't do a good job. We are kind of mean to ourselves. So we are going to say we're sorry to ourselves. Please forgive me. Talking to a friend. Thank you. I love you. Okay? To yourself. You got to hold your hand on your heart and close your eyes and speak inside yourself. You do it. If you have to look in the mirror, do it. Hear what you got to do it, do it. Because it's going to help you. You're going to learn to love yourself when you do this. All right. The next thing is we're going to go through these 5 things that help us. We're going to speak the truth. I'm going to tell you what the truth is here in a minute because it's the truth for everyone. Then we're going to be loving and kind. See, first to ourselves, then to others. Then we're going to be patient. Then we have to give an effort to all this because it's easy not to. And then what this does is it will create balance inside of you. So these are what we went over last week. And what it does, down here it says emancipation of the mind by loving kindness, which means it frees your mind. You're freeing your mind. You're freeing your mind, which is a beautiful thing. So what is the truth? Let's go up here. The truth is, number 1, truth is there is suffering. Everybody suffers, right? I'm going to fix this a little bit. There is suffering in this world. Everyone has a moment in time. You don't suffer every day. That's a good thing. But you suffer sometime in your life. So the truth is there is suffering. The truth is there's a cause to suffering. There's 4 of these. The truth is there is cessation of suffering. It can stop. It doesn't last forever. We know this because sometimes, some days we're suffering, some days we're not. So we know it stops, right? And then there's a path leading to the cessation of suffering, to the stopping of suffering. There's a path, there's things that you can do to stop the suffering. So what are those things? Number 1, you have to have the right understanding. So we just went through, so you have an understanding of what truth is, right? We just went through it. So now you understand that there is suffering in your life. So once you have this understanding, you can't go back and not have it. You just have it. You know now that there is suffering in your life. Oh, and it's in everyone's life. You're not alone. So we have this understanding. So what do we do with that? Well, we have to have thoughts, the correct thoughts, the right thoughts. So what are those thoughts? Well, they're probably not thinking about the thing that's making you suffer, because that's going to make you suffer more, right? The more you think about something, the more it ingrains in you and makes you suffer. So you have to start changing your thought process, right? You have to start changing what you think about all the time, what you're telling yourself all the time, which is speech. Even if you're not speaking it out loud, what you're speaking to yourself or to someone else, it should be correct. It shouldn't be, if you're speaking something and you're negative all the time, that's what you're going to feel inside. See, you're creating what you're feeling. Right action. So you're not going to hit somebody, or you might, but if you do, that's not the right action, right? We want to take the right action. We want to, if someone is being a certain way to us, how do we change that inside ourselves? See, we can't change them. There's nothing we can do about their actions because that's them. They have to change their actions. We have to do us, right? So we spend our entire lifetime pointing the finger. Well, they did this and they did that and they made me feel this way. Wrong. Nobody can make you feel anyway. It's the thoughts inside your mind that make you feel a certain way, right? Right thoughts. So if you have the right thoughts, you're not going to feel whatever they're putting out. You're not going to feel it because you have the right thoughts inside yourself. See? If they're speaking something, you don't have to allow it to come in and attach to you and create the suffering. You don't have to allow that. That's them. See? A lot of us take everything that's outside of us and bring it in as if it's us, right? Oh, they said this to me. Really? Did they say it to you, or were they saying it inside themselves, speaking out loud? See, we take things personal as if it's us. It's not us. Most of the time when they're speaking something, they're speaking about themselves. But they might be saying it towards you, but they're speaking it inside themselves. And the only way it can get into us is if we allow it. If we take their speech, right, and bring it into our thoughts. We take their speech and bring it into our thoughts and then make it ours. That's the only way it gets in. Otherwise, it's their speech. It has got nothing to do with you. Think about it. So our speech is what we say, what we speak out loud, what we speak inside of ourselves. Our thoughts are also our speech inside. Okay? Actions have to have the right actions. You know, we don't want to kill somebody. We don't want to hit somebody. We don't want to, actions. When we're angry, okay, we were just talking about this. When we're angry, what does it do? It's not affecting that person over there. It's affecting us inside our hearts, inside our being, inside this soul, our mind in here, right? Because this mind affects this mind. And they now know that the heart has a mind of its own. It actually can create things inside of you. It can make you well, it can make you sick because of the way you're thinking inside. So your actions, right livelihood. So if you're out stealing cars, that's probably not the right livelihood, right? It's probably not the thing that's going to create the cessation of suffering. If you're out stealing cars, you're going to suffer because eventually you're going to get caught or something. You might get shot. I don't know. Something might happen, right? So right livelihood. Then you have to have the right effort, right? So what is that? We've got to think inside ourselves. What is this mind telling this mind? What is it? What is it telling us? See, think inside, have the effort to think inside yourself. Then you have to be mindful. See, all of this is the same, really. It's the same. You're just saying it in a different way because that's the way this mind works. We have to say it in all kinds of different ways to actually understand that we don't have to suffer. So we're saying it in 8 different ways. Right concentration, right thought, right effort, right livelihood, right action, right speech. All of these, right understanding. They're inside yourself. They're not outside. These are all you. See? You are taking your power back. You've given it away your entire life. You've let someone else control your thoughts, control your mind, control everything. Or so you thought. Really, you've always been in control. You just were doing it the opposite of what you have to do to make it non-suffering. See? You've always been in control. You're either allowing yourself to have thoughts of not so good, thoughts of suffering, thoughts of, oh, why are they doing that to me? They're not doing anything to you. What are they doing? They're speaking. That's outside of you. See, you have to know the truth. The truth is, this is you, that is them. anything outside of here is not you, right? That's not you. That's them. Whoever it is, it's not you, it's them. So knowing this, there's 3 characteristics of existence, okay? Let's look at this, because all of this combined will help you stop suffering. So the number 1 thing is knowing that all things, everything is impermanent. There is nothing in this world that is going to last forever. Nothing. There's nothing in this world that will last forever. How do we know this? Because nothing does last forever. Everything is born and it dies, right? Everything. Plants, animals, people, houses, dogs, cats. There's nothing that's going to be here forever. So, impermanence, right? All things are impermanent. All conditioned things are subject to stress and conflict. So if we are conditioned in our mind, right, we're subject to stress and conflict. So how do we get unsubject to that? Not subject to stress and conflict? Well, we have to do these things. Because what is stress and conflict? Suffering. So, and all things are not self, are non-self, are not you. Now, that's a hard one for people to comprehend. How is that? Well, is it you? Like, is Anna me? No. Is this desk me? No. Is this body me? No. This body is not me. It's just a vehicle I am driving while I'm here on this earth. But when I leave this body, I'm no longer, this is not me. Ah, what a concept, right? It's kind of crazy to think about, but it's true. We always think about me, I, this, that's mine. As we're little children. No, you can't have that. That's mine. That's my car. That's my husband. That's my child. Ah, they're not really yours. They're not yours. They're not even their own. Ooh, this is getting crazy, right? You're thinking in your mind, oh, this is nuts. She's gone crazy. But when you think about it, it's truth. It's true. When we leave this body stays here, right? This body is no longer. If you believe in God and you're going to heaven, your body is not going with you, right? If you don't believe in that, if you believe in reincarnation, this body is not going with you. No matter what you believe in, this body is not you. You are that essence inside. And we can't touch it. We can't see it. So all things here on this earth are non-self. They're not you. So when we get upset about something, what do we get upset about? It doesn't make sense anymore, does it? Because it's not about us. None of it is about us. So if we go through these, and I know that this is a lot to digest. I had more, but I erased it because I was afraid it would be overwhelming. So if you think about these things, so the truth is there is suffering in this world. There is. But the only reason there is because we haven't stopped it yet. Inside ourselves. We can't stop it for somebody else. And the problem is most of the time we're trying to. Most of the time we're trying to stop it for oh, they're suffering. Oh, they're sad. Oh, I need to help them. And I'm not saying don't help somebody. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying you can't stop their suffering. Only they can stop their suffering. And they can only do it inside this, inside their thoughts. The only way to stop your suffering is to change your thoughts. You can't have the same thought and then expect not to suffer. just isn't going to happen. It doesn't happen. If you have, and I think somebody said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? So you're not crazy, because we do this all the time. We go through over and over again. It's practice. Don't get hard on yourself. You're practicing. You're practicing how not to suffer. It takes practice, because we've done the opposite all our life. We've continually gone through our life in this state of suffering all the time because we think everything's about us. We take it on, right? Oh, they must be talking about me. No, they're not. They're having a conversation all on their own. Has nothing to do with you. Even if they bring up your name, it's not you. Don't worry about it. They are talking. It doesn't matter what they're saying. This is a hard one. This is how wars start, right? And they never end. They never end because nobody's thinking the right way. Their thoughts are all about how can we win against them. You can't. There is no winning in war. Everybody suffers and no one wins. So I'm saying get out of war with yourself, because that's what we do. We go into war with ourselves. We're battling ourselves. So we need to stop that. How do we stop that? Okay, right understanding. I'm going to go back because we have to get these. These are not just things that we say and then, think we practice because we say them and not understand them. If you don't understand it, you're not going to get it, and it's not going to work for you because you're not having an understanding. So the right understanding is going back to the truth, right? This is the truth, the understanding of the truth, that there is suffering, there's a cause to the suffering. What is the cause to your suffering today? Like, I've talked to many people today that were in suffering, right? Many people started early this morning, like around 3:30, and it was all having to do with something outside of this, outside of them. It all had to do with something out there, someone out there that you have no control over, which is why we're having this class tonight, because this is big. This is how suffering happens. And it was like smacking me in the face. Hey, you got to teach them how not to do this, because it was over and over again. Almost every conversation I had today had to do with the truth, which is there's suffering. There's a cause to suffering. It's going to stop, but you can stop it yourself, and you can have this understanding. So if we know this truth, which is true for everyone, like there's not, my truth isn't different than yours. This is a truth that everyone has. We all know, right? I think we can agree on this. So that's the understanding. We have this understanding of the truth, right? So then we have to have our thoughts in the right space. We can't just think about these things that are creating the suffering inside of us and think that they're going to go away, because we're thinking about the things that are making us suffer. So if we continue to do that, that's what's going to make us suffer. It's going to continue to make us suffer. So you have to have the right thought. So try changing your thought. Try changing your thought. I'm going to sit in this chair while I talk, because I was helping a friend out at a restaurant, Saiton Prayer Thai, and best Thai restaurant ever. And so my feet are hurting now because I've been on them all day. So if we have the right thought, right? The right thought. So what is the right thought? Well, let's go back over here. So if we tell ourselves, see this, as soon as we start suffering, right? As soon as we start the suffering, we need to come back over here, right? Because this will create the right thought inside of us. So as soon as we start suffering and we identify, oh, this is not my suffering, this is not me, This is something outside of me. So we have this understanding and we've had that thought. Now we need to go over here and start speaking loving kindness inside of ourselves, right? I'm sorry for feeling like this. I'm sorry for making you feel like you're suffering because really I didn't have to. And I'm sorry for that, right? Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. When we do this, it stops that. Like all of a sudden, we realize what we're speaking inside of ourselves, right? Right speech. We've had these thoughts going on, rolling around. Now we got to speak the truth inside ourselves and calm ourselves down. And the action, see, we're taking action, right? All of these are the same. I told you, they're the same, but they're different. They're the same, but different, right? You got to take the right action. So you're going to do this and you're going to stop. And you may have to actually get up and go for a walk or, do something, smell the fresh air outside or whatever you got to do to change where you are, what you're doing. Your actions have got to be something different than what you're doing at the moment, or you're still going to be in the suffering, right? Right, livelihood. So this can also be, how you are reacting to things. This is your livelihood inside yourself, right? So you have to understand how you're reacting. What are you doing? Are you contributing to that? Are you contributing to that? Because your actions they do something. They do something. So I heard this parent going on with this little kid today, right? They were just going on and on, sit up straight, stop that, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And the little kid really wasn't, they were just being a kid, really, is what was happening. And so, after a while, I just went over there. Well, she turned back to me and I took down my mask and I went, and I smiled at her and waved and I put it back up and she's like, and so I went over and I told her, you're beautiful, right? Because she was sad because she was getting in trouble all the time. And so I said, you're beautiful. And everybody at the table smiled. See, that was an action. I took action. What did I do? I didn't do anything really that was anything other than just generate some loving kindness, right? That's what I did. I generated loving kindness to someone. And I said, you're beautiful. I said, you look like a little angel, right? I spoke this out loud, right? And the whole table smiled. It's okay. It changed things. So you don't have to, a lot of people would have started inside their self going, oh my God, I can't believe they're talking blah, 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 and started taking it in as if it were theirs. It wasn't mine to carry, but I could take action inside of myself and smile. See, I generated my loving kindness out. It creates an effect that is beautiful. Because once you change yourself, the things around you change. This is a truth. I'm telling you, I have seen it over and over again. You change yourself, the things around you change. Now, sometimes people don't want to be around you when you change yourself. That's okay. That's all right. Because if they don't want to be around you when you're feeling good, you don't want them around you anyway. Because they're helping you stay in the suffering. Misery loves company. That's another saying that they have. We have a whole lot of sayings that are truth, and we say them, we don't even know what we're saying. See? But misery loves company is a true statement because everybody that's miserable wants somebody else to know their sadness, to know their suffering, and they want to bring them with them. Come on. I want you to feel bad for me. Right? But as a friend to them, it doesn't do them any good for you to feel bad with them. No, that's the wrong action, right? That's the wrong action, wrong livelihood. No, show them how not to feel bad. Show them how not to suffer. And how do you do that? You do it by doing it inside yourself. I'm not saying tell them to do something different. I'm saying you do you, right? You do you. Don't think that you're going to change them. You are not. You can change you. And people will ask you, what are you doing? See, I say this every week too. What are you doing? You look different. You look happy. You look peaceful. You look restful. Did you get a facelift? Did you lose weight? Did you gain weight? They'll ask you these things because they're trying to figure out what you're doing. See? And when they start asking you this, then you tell them, oh, I changed the way I think about things, right? This has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with what you're doing inside yourself. That's it. You control you. That's all you control, nothing else. And we do not control our mind very well because we let it run rampant. So if we have the right thought, if we have the right understanding, the right speech life, and we give it an effort, it's not easy sometimes to be the one that's thinking in the right manner, because we're in a world of chaos right now. I mean, really, it looks like it's all chaos, but my world inside of me is not chaos. See, it's not. My world inside of me is peace and calm and balanced. And I know when I start to feel something, I'm like, that's not about me, right? I know this automatically. Like my mind just automatically goes, that's not about me. Let me look around and see what's going on. Half the time, I start getting calls beforehand. I already know what's going on, right? Because most of the people on this earth are what they call an empath. They can feel other people's emotions. That's what an empath is. You can feel what other people are feeling, right? Only most people don't know how to deal with that. They take it as their own. So they take it in and they're like, oh, I feel like crud. Oh, I'm miserable. Oh, I feel bad. Why? See, you have to go through. You have to have an understanding of what your mind is telling you and why. And then if you know there's no possible reason for you to feel like this, then you have to start looking around because you're feeling emotions from somebody else. Happens a lot. So if we know these things, we can fix them. See, and what are we doing? We're fixing ourselves, right? We're not fixing somebody else. We are fixing ourselves. And once we do this, then we can start helping other people have an understanding. Because then you're like, oh, yeah, I did that. Right? Like this is why I say that this world, our life is a university. It's the greatest college we will ever go to. Because once we learn something and we have an understanding, oh yeah, I went through that. I did that, then you can say this to someone who is doing that and help them understand how to get out of the suffering. But we have to go through it over and over again. We do it a lot. We go through things and usually we go through them multiple times, and until we learn, until we learn the lesson that is trying to be taught to us, because we are all teachers, see? So we're all going to teach or help someone else. See, it's paying it forward. It's a beautiful thing. So once we have this understanding inside ourselves and we're able to recognize these things inside of ourselves, we recognize them. So when we start to feel anxious, mad, fearful, any of these emotions that create suffering, because all these emotions are going to create suffering. So once you feel this and you go, okay, why am I feeling this way? Like, do I have a reason? Even if you have a reason, you don't really have a reason. So I'm going to tell you that. So, but you find out what you talk to yourself, okay? Why am I feeling this way? What is it? Okay. Did I break up with my boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife? No, that didn't happen. If it did, then you go, okay, well, that's them. I don't have to suffer over them leaving. That's them. I know it sounds callous, but what good does it do for you to sit in suffering? I mean, people have sat in suffering for years and years and years. For what? What did it do? What difference did it make in what they were suffering over? Nothing, other than make them miserable for all these years. You don't have to do that. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to do it. My mom died, right? People suffer over people dying. This is like one of the number one things that people suffer over. This is truth, right? And I've had a lot of people die in my life. My mother died, my brother died, my sister died, my niece died. Now I've had, my grandfather, all my grandparents are gone. So I know death, right? I know about death, but I know that I don't have to suffer about it. Why? Well, first of all, it doesn't do anything. What is it going to do? If I'm suffering about that, what is it doing? Nothing. It's making me suffer. It's making me miserable, but it doesn't bring them back. And the person that's gone isn't suffering. They're not suffering. They're probably feeling pretty good right now, actually, especially, my mom died from cancer. So she's really, in a better place. She's not suffering. She's not hurting. She's not sick anymore. She's not battling anything anymore. So really, when we are sad, it's a selfish thing. It's inside ourselves. See, we're feeling sorry for us, but we don't have to do that. It's hard. It's hard to understand this. It really is, because we are trained to suffer when someone dies, to be sad. But not all countries are like that. We're probably one of the few that is like this, that suffer when someone leaves, when someone's gone, when someone dies, but they're not suffering anymore. We should be happy for them. Good for you. You made it out of here. All right. It sounds crazy, but it's true. They're not suffering anymore. Good for you. You don't have to suffer anymore. That's an unselfish approach. If you think about it and think about them instead of you, right? See, I tell you to think about yourself, but I also tell you to think about others. Sounds kind of crazy. But this is your ego. When we suffer inside ourselves about something outside of ourselves, that's our ego. We're taking something on outside and bringing it in. Got to let that go, right? And it's hard because nobody ever talks about that, right? Nobody ever talks about that. That's a subject nobody wants to talk about, right? But the truth is, right here, all things are impermanent. We're all leaving this world at some point in time. We don't know when it is, but we're all going to go. So if we know this, we can say this is a truth, right? We're all going to die sometime. So why be sad? Why not just say, yes, that's a truth. That's what happens. I love them, but I'm letting them go because this is the cycle of life. This is what life is. There is life, there's birth, there's death. That's what happens. In real life, that's what happens. So if we accept it, we don't have to suffer in it. And hundreds of people, thousands, probably millions, suffer every day because of this. When it's a fact of life, it's a truth that happens every single day. And we're sad because we in ourselves has become attached, and we're saying we're going to miss this person. We don't have to miss that person because they're always part of us. Anybody that's entered your life, they're part of your life. I look in the mirror and I can see my mom every day, right? I mean, it's true. If you have a child that's gone, you look in the mirror, you see your child. This is true. They're never really gone. I mean, their bodies are gone, but you have a little piece of them always with you in your mind or whatever. And so suffering over it is pointless. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make you feel better. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help them back. So if we know impermanence, we know that this is a fact of life. It's going to happen sometime. We just don't know when. That's the variable we don't know. We don't know when. We know that there's stress and conflict in any conditioned thing. So if we're conditioned to attachments of anything, then we know there's going to be stress and conflict. If we can have an understanding that it's not us, that's where you can stop the stress and conflict. That's when you can stop it. So here we are. I'm teaching deep tonight, and I know that a lot of people are going to be like, she has lost her mind. It's okay. I haven't lost my mind. And what I'm speaking to you will make sense to you eventually. It may not, like tonight you may go, oh my God, I can't take her. But let it marinate. Just open your mind for a minute and think about fact. Don't think about your opinion. Don't think about, what you think might have. Just look at the facts of what I have written. Don't bring emotion into it. Just look at the fact. Suffering. There is suffering. That's a truth. There's a cause to suffering, right? One of the causes is being attached to something that isn't you. There is cessation of suffering. That means stop, the stopping of suffering. There's a path that leads to the cessation of suffering. Here is the path, right? You have to have the right understanding. Understanding that there is the truth of suffering, right? That's an understanding. Then you have to have the right thought, the right speech, the right action, the right livelihood, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and the right concentration. If you have all these things, and I mean, you got to go deep inside yourself to really even understand. So you start with the first one. Don't go through all of these at one time and think you're done. It doesn't work like that. You've got to like give yourself a little time. I laid it out like this so you can see the full picture, right? You can see the truth about things and how it can lead. But this is a path. What do we do on the path? We walk on a path, right? We take one step at a time. So we're going to take one step at a time. We are going to do the understanding. We have the right understanding, right? The truth of suffering. There is suffering. And when we speak of suffering, it gives you this feeling, right? Like everybody's feeling it. I can feel it through everybody. Don't have the You don't have to have the because we know we can stop this, right? We can stop the suffering. How do we do that? We give ourselves some love and kindness. That's what we do. We give ourselves some love and kindness, right? The reason everybody is feeling this right now is because they've been suffering today. They've had the suffering. So they are very familiar with this feeling. But I want you to stop being so familiar with the feeling of suffering and start being familiar with the feeling of loving kindness. See? Loving kindness. Even when you say the words loving kindness, what does that do? It gives you this feeling inside of yourself. So we've talked a lot about the other. Now we're going to talk about loving kindness, right? So we have to bring that in. That's part of the right thought and the right action is bringing in loving kindness. So how do we do that? Well, our speech, for one, We have to start speaking it. And not only to yourself. I mean, it's good to speak it to yourself because then that's where you start and you're clearing yourself of all this stuff that's been going on all day. It's been going on not only all day, okay? So it's been going on for a couple days or maybe a lifetime for some of you. So now we're going to have an understanding of how to stop it. So isn't that a beautiful thought that you don't have to suffer anymore? Some of you have had anxiety. Some of you have had depression, you know, and to have an understanding that there's a hope that you don't have to do this anymore is a beautiful thing. And it's really very easy. See, all you have to do is start telling yourself inside that I am loving kindness. I am loving kindness. Like you say this inside yourself because that's what we are. You know, we're not this body. Oh, no, this is not us. Loving kindness. See, we're all that. So if we start feeling loving kindness inside our heart for ourselves, right? Oh, I'm sorry for all this suffering I've had now. I'm going to give you some loving kindness. Please forgive me for all this I've done. Thank you, and I love you. And then give yourself this love. It's a beautiful thing when you start feeling it. See, you can change your thoughts really like that. And you start thinking about loving kindness, right? And it really changes the whole thing, right? It does. It changes the way we feel, it changes the way we speak, changes the way we act, changes our reactions to everything. A little bit of love and kindness, but you have to give it to yourself. See, I'm giving it to you now. I'm saying love and kindness, and I'm giving you love and kindness. But if you do it to yourself, it changes something inside. It makes like a world of difference. I can give it to you, but that's outside of you. See? If you can just start speaking things inside yourself, like you're a beautiful soul. See? You think about this inside yourself. I am a beautiful soul. Like, say that to yourself because it's the truth, right? I'm a beautiful soul. I'm loving kindness. So you're changing your thoughts. Our entire life, we've been thinking differently. And it's created a little bit of suffering in us. Now we're wiping that clean. It takes time because we've had a lifetime of the other. So we just need to be patient with ourselves. See these things over here? Loving kindness, patience, effort, and balance. See, what happens is as we start this process, we get a little nervous inside because it's the unknown. We don't know. We've never done this before. So it makes us like, you know. But just be patient. Just be patient. Just try a little bit at a time. Just start with the loving kindness inside your soul, right? Just start with that and give it to yourself daily. Every morning, every night, in between. Just start giving yourself this little bit of peace and calm and loving kindness. See, when you start generating this love to yourself, then what happens is the peace and calm comes automatically. See? Be kind to yourself. This is something we never do. We're never taught to do. We're not taught to do this. But when we do it, it changes our life. See? You are the same as me. Everyone is the same. We're not different. We all have the same kinds of suffering. Sometime in our life, we all go through something that makes us suffer. This is true, right? So it's okay. It's okay. You can say to yourself, it's okay. I don't have to suffer anymore. I can love myself. I can be kind to myself. See? And when you start speaking this, you're creating the right action, the right thought, the right speech. See, it's automatic. It's automatic. These things that we do over here, this giving self-love and speaking the truth and loving kindness, patience, effort, and balance, all of this stuff, like once you do the first, all the rest follows. See, it's like a chain reaction. So it sounds difficult, and we went through a lot, and I know some of you might be overwhelmed with what we went through tonight. But if you just look at it as, okay, when I do this, this happens. When I give myself loving kindness, then all of this, the truth, loving kindness, patience, effort, and balance automatically happen, right? It just happens. And when we know the truth about things, then we can follow this path and it automatically happens. Like all these things automatically, when we have our mind in the right place and we start having the right thoughts and right action, right speech, right? When we start doing the right things inside of ourselves, it all trickles down like it's automatic. You don't even have to really think about it then. But you've got to give it an effort over here. See, if you don't do that, then none of it can happen because you're not doing this. You have to do this. And it's really, it's one of the hardest things for people, and it should be one of the easiest. Like I say, you should love yourself. And a lot of people tell me, oh, I do love myself. But when I watch and I listen and I hear, I know that's not a truth inside of their self. They're just speaking that, but it's not true. Right? Because if you love yourself, you're not going to be mean to yourself. And if you're suffering, you're being mean to yourself. That's the only person that lives in there is you. Right? And so if you're suffering, you're not being kind to yourself. So I'm saying be kind to yourself. Show yourself this loving kindness. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself a break. Don't sit in suffering. See, the break is not to sit in suffering. That's a break. The break is not to sit and be in suffering. That's not a break. The break is to let yourself be in non-suffering. Oh, the lights just went out. Can you go over and... Oh, there we go. And so the break is the lights are always doing crazy things in here. The break is to let yourself not suffer. That's a break. See, it feels good when you're not suffering. So give yourself a break. Be kind and loving to yourself. And what happens is beautiful things then. Your entire world changes. And I'm speaking truth to you now. Yeah. Our lights are just, they're having fun right now. Every time I speak of loving kindness and say I'm speaking a truth, it goes bloop. So anyway, this is what I'm trying to do is help you not suffer. See, because I've done all these things. Like I have worked hard at it. I spent 75 days in a monastery with some monks and nuns. And, that was a long time to spend there because I'm not a monk or a nun, right? But I spent that because I wanted to learn. And they wanted to exchange information, right? So we did. I spent 12 hours a day meditating. Like that's a lot of time, right? But I wanted to have an understanding. And I have an understanding. I don't suffer. I don't go in and I'm not sad. And I'm telling you, there was a time in my life where I was. There has been times in my life where I tried to kill myself, and I'm speaking truth to you now. See? Because I want you to understand that I know how it is, but that I also know how to stop it. And I've done it inside myself. So I can speak from experience and I can help you. I can tell you these things. I can't do it for you. See, that's the hard thing. I can't do it for you. But I can give you the tools. See, all these things right here are tools. I'm giving you like this toolbox. And all you have to do is open it up and pick which one you need for today. That's it. Don't make it any more complicated than that. You have a toolbox filled with tools. And I will take a picture of this and try to upload it so that everyone can see it, okay? So you have a toolbox full of tools. And all you have to do is look in. You have to think about why you're suffering, right? What's going on inside of you. You got to think about it. Then you reach in and you get the tool that's good for you at that moment in time, right? So do you need to change your thoughts? Do you need to change your actions? What is it that you need to do inside yourself? Do you need to have an understanding of what's making you suffer? Think about it. Because if we just go on blindly suffering and not know why, how do we stop it? So we have to have an understanding of what it is. Why am I suffering? What is it? Then once you know what it is, open your toolbox up and pick what tool you need to fix yourself. Because you are the only one that can fix you. That's the good news, really. You don't have to rely on someone else. You can do it yourself. It's a beautiful thing. It's very powerful. You just have to choose to do it. See? And the happiness and the balance. See, if we're too happy, we're going to suffer. Because what goes up must come down, right? But there's a balance where you can be in peace and calm the rest of your life. I'm there. See, I can be around people and they can be in chaos and all I have to do is think, oh, that's not me. I'm not being mean. See, I have to do me first. So I think that's not me. Then I give them a smile and I send them some love. See, that's what I can do. Sometimes they'll sit and they'll start talking to me. And I can tell them things that I know, that I have dealt with it within myself, that they're going through the same thing. That's what happens. People that are going through what you've been through enter your life because you are the one that's going to teach them because you've already been through that. See, we're helpers. We help each other. It's a beautiful thing. That's what really the world is. We're filled with we all go through the same stuff. We think we're different. See, the truth is we're not. We all have suffering. We've all been through something in our life. We've all made mistakes. We've all done crazy things. That's okay. That makes us human, and that gives us the ability to go, oh yeah, I went through that, and I know I can tell you how I got through it. See, I can tell you how I got through that. It was tough being in that suffering, but I got through it. Let me tell you how. And then you get to share, see, and help people. But you have to do you first. You have to do you first. So I'm giving you a big toolbox. Tonight, I loaded it up. Don't get overwhelmed. It's okay. Just one thing at a time. Just think of these things as your tools. You don't use all the tools in your toolbox at once. You never do. We never do. Anybody that has a toolbox knows that they have a bunch of tools and there's some of them they never use, right? There's some of them they never use, but you have them just in case, right? I'm giving you all these tools. You put them in your toolbox and they're there just in case. so that when you need them, you can reach in, look at it, and go, okay, I need this one today because this is what's happening with me today. And there's a lot of teaching I have to go through. This is the tip of the iceberg, but this is your base. See, I'm creating, it's like we're building a house. And if you don't have a good foundation in your house, then your house crumbles. So I'm helping you build your foundation so that your house will not crumble, so that you will be strong and it can withstand anything. This is really what we're doing. We're building that inside of you. So it's a process. And sometimes we get into emotions. It's okay. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some love and kindness. Because there are times when I will speak to you and you will feel this anger inside or frustration or fear or resentment. You'll feel these things because I'm speaking truth and it triggers something inside. It's okay. Just know what it is. See, have an understanding. Go in your toolbox, figure it out, and then work with it. So I'm going to end for tonight because I've been on almost an hour. So I'm going to say once again, if you need to call me, if you need to text me, if you need to email me, if you need to contact me in any way, I believe all my information is on YouTube or Facebook. But if not, I'll post it. I'll put it in a post for you so you can, along with a picture of this, I'll put this in there and I'll put my email and phone number, and you can feel free to contact me. And if you need anything, all my service is free. I do take donations if you feel like it's helped you and you want to donate, but it is not necessary because I am here to help stop suffering in this world. That's my job. So if you feel the need and you need some help, please feel free to call or text or email. So hopefully this is helpful to you. I hope you have a nice evening. And those of you who tune in for meditation, it's tomorrow night at the same time, 7 o'clock. And I will see you then. And if not, I'll see you next week.